Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level best of 3 between in the bottom right, spawning as the red Zerg player here on Grassvan. He's known as the Busan Zerg, DRG. And in the top left as our yellow Terran playing for Team Matcherino is the man, the myth, the legendary American Terran, Future. Ooh, Future, as always, is opening up with something spicy. That is his MO after all. Look at this. A triple Rex opener with a reactor first, straight into Tech Lab, coming off of a CC first on the low ground. This is why everyone loves Future. Okay, you look at this guy, you see his strategy, he's like, yes, this is it. I wonder what his second barracks is going to do. It could be for the second Tech Lab, quick combat shield rush and then some type of 3 Rex pressure. It could also just be for... Nah, actually, I think that's just what it's going to be. I think we will see a Tech Lab over here. This SCV is in a little bit of trouble. First 2 Marines are out right now. There's 4 links, well, downstairs, so need to be real careful. Make sure that nothing bad happens. Ooh, no second Tech Lab quite yet. Is this going to be a 4th barracks here, Future? Okay, he's 4 Rex all inning off of 2 bases. Going to be a low SCV count. And perhaps just with Stim. I still believe that there's going to be a Tech Lab here. Yeah, it kind of wants to match up the Stim and the combat shield at approximately the same time. It's not doing the greatest job with that. Combat shield is going to be significantly delayed. 3rd base is here on the way. How many Marines are you actually going to get with this is my question. And I have loads of opportunities to deny scouting. There's not going to be any type of Overlord speed either. You already have 9 Marines. 3 minutes and 46 seconds in, and that number is going to continue to grow. Worker count is actually not being cut here whatsoever. Like, we have constant SCV production. This build feels relatively tight as more and more depots are being constructed on the low ground as well. Speed is about to finish up as the first Evo chamber now gets thrown down as well. And what is the correct way for DRG to deal with this particular build order? I actually have no clue. Usually the 4X build orders that come off the double barracks play that we've seen beyond do quite a bit. You know, the Reaper openers into 4 barracks play. I think the number that we're looking at is maybe 40, 45, 46, 47, 48 workers. I do believe there's going to be significantly more Marines here. And a little bit quicker as well. So we need to just keep that in mind. This also has way better eco behind this, so there's an actual transition possible. Overlord is just now going in. This is going to be 24 Marines that are making their way across the map. Don't forget, there is no Baneling Nest, there's no Roach Warren, there's 7 Queens, which is quite a lot. But is it enough? That's the real question. 8 Queen is about to pop, 26 links on the way, 53 drones are out. That is full saturation basically on 3 bases with a single gas. There's no real transfuse energy available. I believe we have 1 total just on this 1 Queen. Going to be 8 Queens here. Stim forward out of Future. Needs to micro back a little bit near that edge. Needs to always make sure that there's something that blocks these links from surrounding him. 8, 9 workers go down practically immediately, and now Future wants to escape. Is he going to be capable of doing that? I think the answer is no, but he will get a lot of links for his troubles as well. These Queens are going to take him out as he takes out 1 last Queen. 9 drones have been killed, as well as a bunch of links over here. 36 links, 1 Queen for the small price of... was it 26 Marines? No, just 20 Marines. These 4 Marines are also going to get picked off here most likely, as a lair is now on the way. We have a tank already being produced behind this for Future. We have a starport that's on the way, and of course we're still on 4 barracks. So Marine production is looking real tight. There's a lot of money actually in the bank for our American Terran player, and decides to throw down a 3rd base. I think that could have been done significantly quicker here. Not sure why we waited so long. I think Future really was keen on following this up with a powerful 2-base timing and thought that he couldn't afford that CC. But there must have been either some macro errors or some planning mistakes, because it seems like he had plenty of cash, honestly, to build that 3rd command center. And that 3rd command center is a nice transition tool, if anything, right? DRG is going to try and hold this with a... well, a 1-1 type of timing. He already has the carapace, has the melee on the way. I honestly would have preferred seeing a Roach Warren here as well. Just playing Roaches against these types of 2-base play are often way, way better than whatever it is that DRG is doing now. It's going to be centrifugal hooks, it's going to be banelings, but banelings sometimes do suffer against a high marine and tank counts. These marines are going to escape as well, which is kind of painful. That actually was kind of painful. Cost them quite a few links. Here come the first two tanks with a bunch of medevacs. This timing is still hitting quite hard as well. Curious to see how this is going to pan out. These two tanks are being picked up into the medevac. Will move forward. Lots of creep being denied here all at once. The tanks are sieging up. Third tank is now out. So is the third command center. DRG setting up for a flank or maybe a run by. We'll have to wait and see what it actually is going to be. Plus one armor on the way for future. He sends a couple of these marines forward to try and deal some damage. Flank being set up here. This is a very important move for DRG, who most likely would like to wait for centrifugal hooks, but if he feels like he can, he will go in. I'm sure of that. There are a couple of Banes being produced in the flank as well. That's going to be fairly useful, clearing those marines from the flank. Reinforcements do get spotted. It's important for DRG to hit before reinforcements arrive. Centrifugal hooks, however, not quite going to be done. Future paying attention, stims in. Not the greatest marine control. We'll get to pick up on a couple of units. Now Sims back with a significant number of these marines. Here come the queens, here come the links. Two tanks get taken out. Very nice movement out of DRG, honestly. Who's professionally just deconstructing this push. He's saying, hey, you're out of position here. Let me pick up some tanks. You're out of position there. Let me take out some of these marines. And just wherever there's a weak spot is where DRG ends up showing up. Another tank is going to get taken out here. This doesn't necessarily look great for DRG. If you look at the actual armies right now, you might think, well, it's just, it's a lot of links and the worker count's only at 64. But at this point, I think DRG has secured enough of a lead when it comes to the army that he doesn't really need to be afraid of dying anymore. The tank count has practically been reset, which is freaking huge. That makes any type of 1-1 push just so much weaker. And really a 1-1 push is all that Future can do in the next few minutes because, well, he doesn't have to on the way. Carapace is about to finish up. We now see the armory. We now see the second eBay. There's no fourth command center yet. We're floating 900 gas, which kind of shows that this was an inefficient build. If you have too much gas mining, that can be kind of painful. Now get the pickup on this tank over here. I think Future can't really deal too much damage with this particular push, especially now that the ground carapace ends up finishing up. Like, we're going to be in a situation in which 2-2 is going to be, practically done for 40-50 seconds before the Terrans 2-2 will end up finishing up. Hive is going to be on the way already as well, and with Hive, Vipers, Adrenal Glands, all of these options get opened up here for the Zerg. Makes it so much harder for Future to really see, well, honestly, a future in this game. Tank focus fire was good on those banelings. It's going to now shift his attention to the right side banes. I don't quite think it got a good shot off there. The tank will end up falling. Future moving out towards the far right side. This is too many marines, I think, for 2 medevac. I'm not great at counting, but this does feel like it's going to be more than 16. Hatch gets blasted, and that might limit the production that DRG has. Still has 11 larvae available though, so perhaps the injects have been good enough. Fifth base now gets built over here. There is of course a hatchery in the main, which is a macro hatch. That's always nice. Future's fourth base finally starts, as well as 3 extra barracks, but 2-2 still hasn't begun. And that is going to be a real issue. We're now in the territory where, well, how much faster is... Yeah, okay, it's going to be a solid 2 minutes, at least, in which DRG will be up 2 upgrades. DRG is up 50 supply as well, so technically DRG is up in everything. Just decides to attack right away here. This was probably world's worst synchronized attack that I've seen in my entire life, and it's still just going to absolutely blast Future out of the water. So all of these SCVs will get taken out. Links continue to deal a lot of damage. 162 supply to, well, 76 right now as every single SCV goes down. As Future taps out DRG. It's game number 1. This time around, another hatch first versus CC first setup out of Future. It's very keen on these little mind games. Now, it's always very difficult, I think, to pick out individual errors in a game in which the Terran all-ins. It often feels like that if you all-in, you're really relying on either your mind games working very well, or B, you're really relying on your opponent making some type of control error or some type of macro error. And honestly, DRG just didn't make many errors in that regard. Like DRG, I had a solid setup. I still would have preferred roaches against what Future was doing. I think it's a lot safer, and sometimes these, you know, these 2-base all-ins that Terran goes for can be very hard to hold with Lingbane, but DRG finished this in a very professional manner. Now, once again, we have a 2-rack setup coming out of Future. The question, of course, is going to be, will it be the same start, and what is the follow-up looking like? So far, no third barracks being added quite yet, so might be looking at something just a little bit different here. It is going to be reactor first once more. Now we see, oh, actually, it is going to be a third barracks. Once again. All right. Future still having some trust, some true believing in this build order. It's going to be a fourth barracks as well here, isn't it? I can see you. I see you, brother. There we go. Maybe adds a 5th barracks as well. I mean, why not? More Marines the merrier, right? That is what they say after all. Don't forget, last game the combat shield was a little bit disjointed from the main push. It came about 10, 15, 20 seconds later than Stim finished up, so that was kind of odd. I think this is something that that Future definitely would want to fix if he's going for the repeat, you know? Definitely would want to fix that. 2 Marines are now out as these 4 links denied a little bit of mining on the low ground. And Stim starts. Now we see an instant start on that tech lab rather than last game where we first saw, I think, 2 Marines produced. So this is definitely a change of build order. Perhaps Future just forgetting how his build order is supposed to be executed. Should just start Marine production on this immediately. Can't really afford to build a reactor here, at least not in my mind. There we go, Marine does start. This combat shield should also finish up. Double depots at the same time. Honestly, kind of sloppy play here out of Future so far once again. Not super feeling this at all. Like, getting 2 depots at the same time, that is usually not the sign of someone who's been macroing well. If it's your first 2 extra depots that you're building, at least. So now we get this. Yeah, I'm real curious how this is gonna pan out. I really am. Because it's just the exact same build order, and this. It felt like it was figured out last game already. Perhaps Future felt like there was something more he could have done. This is another thing, of course, right? If you look at a situation, DRG holds, but Future says to himself, hey, I made mistakes X, Y, and Z. My opponent now believes he has the counter. So if I play this again, and I don't make mistakes X, Y, and Z, I'm going to be capable of winning, because I'm expecting a similar response out of my opponent. I've had thoughts like this quite a lot in the past, and sometimes they were correct, sometimes they were wrong. Future hopefully is going to be correct here. Otherwise we won for game number 3. 2 more refineries now being thrown down. The factory has started as well. And here comes the move out. Is this going to be significantly stronger? With 23 Marines, Stim combat shield finishing up. Combat shield lacking a little bit behind, but still at a very reasonable timing. I think this move out might have just been like 10 seconds too slow. Look how much extra time he's giving his opponent here. Also, DRG went up to 58 workers. Last time it was just a mere 50. DRG didn't buy that this was going to be the same thing. Get a big scan forward. This is going to be a stim in. There's simply not enough links here, and I think Future might just be aware of that. Sees the complete lack of links. Continues to fight in forward. Lots of queens have already fallen. I think this might actually be too much damage here that DRG is taking. Yes, no drones have gone down yet, but every single queen is going to end up falling. More links need to be produced, and here go the drones. They're getting pulled off the line. So we have a similar situation to last game when it comes to drone damage. I think last game it was 10, this time it is 11. But right now, 8 queens and 35 links ended up falling. That is a big difference with last time. And now I think this 2-base follow-up is going to deal some severe damage. Look at how little cash Future is floating this time around as well. That shows a way tighter follow-up rather than being capable of building that CC so early on, like Future was. This time, all of that money is just going into quicker Marine. So there's definitely some major improvements here in the build order. And we're gonna have to wait and see how this is going to pan out. And I love how these barracks have moved as well. So the factory went to the tech lab. That was on one of the barracks that I guess was constructing stim or combat. And then this barracks created a reactor for the starport. And now it's just building lone Marines by itself. I think this is a very nice and tight execution of this build. Big damage in the early game. And this really is going to be like a build order check in a way for Future as well. If Future doesn't manage to kill his opponent right now, his build sucks. Like, he's dealt so much damage in the early game that if your follow-up can't kill, then your follow-up is not good or your entire build is not good. You're giving up too much in the early game. So despite dealing a lot of damage, it's not worth it. It's if like you're playing a 1-base 4-gate, just denying your opponent's natural isn't good enough because, well, you also don't have a natural. We're now going to see if that is the case with this particular build order. I think the setup, it looks to me like this is going to be good enough. There is no... Oh, wait, there is centrifugal hoops. Wait, what? Okay, that's way faster than I thought it was going to be. Carapace is kind of late, though, so no upgrades against +1. His position is... Whew, I do not want to be DRG at this moment. Look at the target fire here on those Banes as well. Not a single Bane is going to reach the Marines, which is definitely where they want to get. One Baneling gets through right now. That was a big hit, but not big enough. GG gets stalled. Future takes game number 2 and ties up the series. That's just one of those things that sometimes happens, you know, is where DRG doesn't believe that Future is going to play the exact same build twice in a row. And he wants to take a bit of a risk. He says, hey, I'm building 8, 9, maybe even 10 more drones than what I did before. I know that if I'm being all-in by a 4x or being attacked by a 4x, it's going to be very difficult for me. But I hope my opponent won't 4x. And if they don't 4x, I'm in a great economical position. I just straight up get a win. Ooh. An eBay block opener here. Coming out of Future. How do you respond to this as Zerg? Because we never see this coming out of Terrans. We never see this coming out of Terrans. So it's just going to be more and more drones. Is it just me though, or is this barracks real late? Even for it being an eBay block. I guess the eBay block is before the barracks, which makes this so weird compared to how it would work in a Terran versus Protoss type of situation, right? Was this worth it for Future? I don't know. Was this worth it for DRG? I have absolutely no clue. I know that the pool is going to be severely delayed as well here. Look at this. It went down at 130. Pool takes 46 seconds. It's going to be 16 seconds later than usual. Barracks is... What was that? 139? Let me do the mental math. It's 12 seconds later than usual. Oh, it's been a while since I had to do, you know, these... like the adding and the subtraction. It's been difficult on me. Like 39 minus 27, and it does feel like it's going to be 12. So production facility wise, we're looking at a 4-second benefit, an advantage for Future, which means that the Reaper should be more successful. Overall, eco wise though, I think this probably end up being slightly worse for Future, but I could be wrong. I'm just not very familiar with where the advantages are going to be and where the disadvantages are going to be. Reaper now moves in, so this is going to have quite a long time. Look at this, there's not even a single Ling out yet, and there's no Queen either. So yeah, Future's going to have an absolute field day with this Reaper. It's going to force a lot of drones off the line, and that might just make up for any type of eco lead that DRG coulda, woulda, shoulda had. I mean, that's building 2 buildings here before anything really happens. Queen still is about 10 seconds away from finishing. I feel like if Future would have micro this slightly better, then could have gotten either extra Ling kills or maybe just a real drone kill. Still, this was a lot of damage, honestly, as well as forcing out 6 Lings. This was nice. This was real nice. We have a 2-on-1 follow-up. Don't lose the Reaper. It's not going to. 2-on-1 follow-up, a build that was very popular in 2016, then fell out of fashion because it sucks. And now Future is bringing it back. More people have been bringing it back, of course, but most of the time we've been seeing it with a triple CC type of setup. So fast 3rd CC, then kind of a delayed 2nd barrack, still going into a 2-on-1, but it brings much better economy than whatever it is that the Future is doing right now. This has poor economy. It is actually very similar to the build that he did in the last 2 games. This one's going to have medevacs, but it's very dedicated and definitely requires damage. You could say that these builds, despite being standard for such a long time, are now kind of cheesy in a way. They're not even really... They're not like a tight all-in timing. They're just a bit cheesy, like gimmicky. You need your opponent to make significant errors in order for this to be worth it. And usually, against the top Zerg players, that doesn't tend to happen. Like these builds, they need to come as a surprise, really need to come as a surprise. And I wonder if DRG is going to fall for a similar build another time here. First two medevacs are on the way already, so it's going to hit quite quick, as it always will. So we see a baneling nest being constructed. I don't think a baneling nest is actually quite what you want. Usually queens and then lings are just going to be a very good solution to the problem of the 2-1-1 setup. 2-1-1, for the people that are not aware, is the order in which you build the buildings. It's fairly basic, but some people might not know. You hear like the 3-1-1 or a 1-1-1 or a 2-1-1 setup. So basically the two are the two barracks. The first one is the factory, and then the second one is the starport. And there's a 2-1-1. You get two barracks, one factory, one starport. So a 1-1-1 would be a single barracks, then getting a factory, then a starport. And a 3-1-1, well, I think you can figure it out. If you can't, maybe starport 2 just isn't the game for you. You know, I mean, you just go play some other game, tic-tac-toe or checkers. I'm not sure how hard checkers is. Remember when I was a kid, I wasn't so good at checkers. I didn't like it. I was lost to my brother. But nowadays I see people pooping all over checkers all the time. It's so easy compared to chess. You go. Might be true. I don't know. Didn't get deep enough into the checkers theory. Medevac's picking up and pissing off. No third CC. Once again, it's going to be a 2-base all-in behind all of this. That really seems to be just the... Well, I was going to say the flavor of the week. The flavor of the day. But it's more the flavor of the year here for Future, because this is what he's been doing for quite a while now. Just 2-base all-inning against Zerg. Or like 2-base all-inning into a third CC at some point. Of course, it's also applicable to Future, because he is an ice cream salesman. So, you know, he usually gets to pick the flavor of the day. Actually, he's the manager of an ice cream store. Oh, sniped out 2 banelings there. So if you go to his ice cream store, all you get is the same, you know, the same flavor again and again. No such thing as the flavor of the day. Flavor of the day is always the same. I mean, if a flavor works well, why would you change it, you know? That's all I want to know. Chocolate ice cream. No one ever flames chocolate ice cream for being, you know, boring and repetitive. No, people like chocolate. I don't like chocolate ice cream personally. I'm not a huge fan of chocolate in general. And chocolate flavored things also, I'm not a huge fan of. Just not really feeling it. Just not really feeling it. A couple of scans in here. This map is bananas, by the way. This tank position, you can be hit by like 2.5 links. That's if the links squeeze in properly. And you can move quite far forward from there. You know, you can have like a marine force over here. You can put a tank down here. Everyone's covering each other and boom, nothing gets done. 116 supply to 123. Oh, Future. Oh, Future. Be careful with this wall. Be careful with this wall, Future. DRG is about to come in. Knocking on Future's wall. And well, this is some very aggressive knocking. Not quite sure if this is what Bob Dylan meant. He sang about knocking on heaven's door. This door is no door anymore. It knocked it down. 13 SUVs get taken out here. That means that all of a sudden, Future's push on the other side of the map is well, slightly more all-in than I think he anticipated it being. Good split so far though. This is not a lot of target fire from the Marines, but it's not necessary because there's not so many banelings. So splitting away tends to be better than trying to target those down. Marine count is actually very high. The tanks in the back helping out as well. Target fire on the banes needs to be good now. And it is fabulous. GG gets called as the man, the myth, the legend. The local ice cream shop manager from a city somewhere in Tennessee, USA. Does it again. The beast from America. A machine over here. Future. All in after all in after all in. And these Koreans are just not ready for it. Beautiful stuff as he takes out DRG, a veteran GSL player. But then again, Future is a promising up-and-comer. Still spending some time in Korea for now. I do believe he needs to go back home to get to school soon as the summer break will be over. But yeah, impressive results that he has posted over the summer, and I'm looking forward to see how he will develop over the next few years. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.